The Cold War wasn't named for anything of temperature, but it was a war full of ideologies. The United States versus the Soviets. Capitalist versus communists. But who started it?
So this kid at school tells me that the Cold War was all the fault of the United States. I told him, of course he was a moron. Of course it was created by the Soviet Union. I mean, really, why would the United States want to create a war such as that? You know what I mean? And they weren't the one who was trying to grab land all over Eastern Europe and in Germany and setting up embargoes and getting a lot of people killed. They were trying to do what was best for the other European nations.
Of course it was the United States' fault for the Cold War. They were trying to stick their nose into everyone else's business. All the Soviet Russians were doing was taking land that was theirs, ones that would conform with their ideologies. And then you had people like Churchill and those racists like Truman who keep making their doctrines and trying to be the policemen of the world. As if we'd go for something as meaningless as a little island territory off west of Europe, or some highfalutin little country out in the west. No, we wanted the countries that would let them be taken by the Soviets.
It all started with the Truman Doctrine, which thrusted the US into war.
President Harry Truman also derived his doctrine, which outlined the need for helping those being oppressed by any sort of ideology. The US foreign policy, which was isolationist at the time, now became radically changed.
General George Marshall created the Marshall Plan, which was to give economic recovery to nations in Europe.
The Marshall Plan would give immediate economic help to European nations to suppress the Soviet influence.
We were all very grateful for the United States to come in and to give us aid, essentially. We were all war-torn. Nazi Germany had done a number on us. You know, it was a little disheartening that those colonists over there in those colonies would be coming over to help us out.
The Marshall Plan was designed specifically to aid Europe. Yet, there was still the fear that we'd end up having to support the USSR with some of our aid. Yet, what ended up happening was the US decided to change their criteria, so that way that the USSR would have to give up complete financial records before they received aid. They would never succumb to something like that. The Marshall Plan, of course, would have its fair share of controversies throughout the entire USSR. It's specifically in the Czechoslovakia, where they were actually considering taking foreign aid from the United States due to the Marshall Plan.
The United States had strict policy on the Marshall Plan and obviously would not be in favor of our deals. So we joined the Eastern European economies together. Come on, yeah boy.
Of course, Stalin would have negative reaction to Czechoslovakia going westward. In fact, there's all kinds of conspiracies going around with that. The many non-leading Communist Party members were expelled from the Czechoslovakian government. As well, many even died, lost their lives due to their ideologies.
The Czechoslovakians were just like brats and we needed to deal with them severely.
Meanwhile, in Germany,
Things weren't very wunderbar in post-war Germany.
Sie gewannen.
They won.
Es
It
war
was a
eine
great victory
große
for the West.
Sieg für den
We
Westen.
lost. And they took.
Wir verloren, nahmen sie.
Germany was split into 4 parts. You had Britain, the France side, the United States side, and the Soviet side. Though in the Soviet region, there was Berlin, which was owned by all of the Allies because it was a rich nation. But the Soviets started embargoing Berlin.
And then, why should we keep Berlin under Alliance influence? They were in our damn territory.
We will return after these messages. Go history! Coming this Halloween. Experience a terror like you've never seen it before. A man who keeps running and running and running from nothing! Nothingness started dominating his life in very strange ways.
What is this? I'm weightless.
And now, blogger Tom Johnson is documenting his life and being tormented by the nothingness. Always. This nothingness. Progressively getting worse. He starts coming to the worst conclusion of his life. That nothing was worse than it seemed.
It's got to that too! It's trying to kill me now!
It's really chasing me, and it's dominating my life. Soon, he started realizing that there was no one to turn to. Not even a cameraman.
Dr. Carlyle?
Well, I won't let it. But now, this time, he is willing to fight back. And I am going to conquer this. Thanks for your support. Nihilophobic Rampage. Coming to a theater near you. Rated G.
Sky twerking.
We now return to History Abridged.
Don't tell anyone I told you this. But George Bush created the Cold War because he wanted popsicles.
My fellow Americans, today is a great victory day in the United States of America. We have obtained delicious popsicles, coming in flavors such as watermelon and mass destruction, no cherry left behind, our country the grape, Condoleezza Raspberry, and Green. Well, there you have it. The Cold War. You could say that anyone had caused the World War. Germany, with its collapse, the Soviets, the United States, world leaders that really had nothing to do with it.